96% of D&D players aren't sure how fire works in 5e? Yeah, and the whole reason I made that poll was because I realized I didn't know either. But now I do, and we're gonna break it down because I'm Bob, this is where we learn how to have more fun playing D&D together, and you're probably familiar with how a bunch of fire-based spells in D&D 5e say something like, a flammable object hit by this spell ignites if it isn't being worn or carried. Okay, pretty simple. We all know 5e doesn't like ruining characters' equipment as much as previous editions of D&D once did. And I'm sure you've heard this rule somewhere. Specific beats general. Many racial traits, class features, spells, magic items, monster abilities, and other game elements break the general rules in some way. ... If a specific rule contradicts a general rule, the specific rule wins. So when I recently reread a fire spell with that specific rule about igniting flammable objects not being worn or carried, I thought,
so without that rule, a fire spell's supposed to ignite flammable objects that are worn or carried. And what really happens to those flammable objects?
Basically wondering, what is the general rule that makes this specific rule necessary? I couldn't find anything in Xanathar's, Tasha's, or the core books laying out basics for ignition and recurring fire damage, except a few items and monsters with their own specific rules. Like Alchemist Fire, which does 1d4 fire damage at the start of the target's turns until they succeed a DC 10 Dex check. Not saving throw, just a general Dex check to wriggle out of the fire, I guess. And Fire Elementals and Magmans, which can ignite and burn targets with a touch attack until somebody uses their action to douse the flames. Leaving it very much up to the DM. Like all of this, by the way, I am totally aware that the DM can run fire however they want, hopefully keeping it fun for their party, but isn't it weird that it's this hard to figure out how things burn in a game where most of the rules are cool ways to kill monsters? So I went back to where this started. Fire spells. Out of the 35 spells that do fire damage, I found 9 that include some specific rule about flammable objects not being worn or carried, and only 2 that actually state the target can burn for multiple rounds, but no real answer. So finally, I asked you, hey, so can anyone actually cite how default magical fire works in 5e? And around 3.8 thousand people responded. 56% said, I think, by default, it doesn't catch anything on fire. 40% said, I think, by default, it catches everything on fire. And only 4% were confident enough to go with, I know how it works and I'll cite the rule in the comments. My favorite comment was, yes, from Skull Squad, but the best answer came from the Tech or Oleg, who ended with, spells don't ignite anything unless specified that they do. If a spell effect is not in the rules, it doesn't happen. This logical statement means your druid cannot use Produce Flame to light a campfire. It means anything hit by a flaming arrow that was lit with the Flame Arrows spell does not ignite, and a bunch of other boring, sad conclusions about fire magic. Rules as written. But now that we know how the rules work, we can effectively decide to replace them with something way more fun. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments how you run fire, and if you'd like to see a follow-up video with my own house rules for igniting creatures and objects. Thanks, and keep building.
G'day everybody, it's me, Bob's internal Australian monologue.